Good morning, my dear friends. I hope everyone is doing well today. So, we will be reflecting on the story of Bartimaeus, whom sometimes I call blind Bartimaeus. Now, the story of Bartimaeus can be found in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verses 46 to 52, which happens to be today's Gospel. Now, what is the story of Bartimaeus like? So, this guy was seated on the roadside and begging. And then all of a sudden, he learns that Jesus was passing by. And he started calling out to him, Jesus, help me. Jesus, heal me. But what happens? And people started shushing him and asking him to keep quiet. How dare they? Like, seriously, how dare they? Like, this guy who has been suffering, who has been unable to see, and he is seated on the roadside and trying to make ends meet. He learns of someone who could permanently change his story. Someone who could heal him, who could make life different for him. And people start shushing him and asking him to keep quiet. How terrible. But of course, Bartimaeus does not give up. He doesn't let those voices of those people who do not want the best for him, those people who try to pull him down, to strap him down and not let him progress and not let him find his fulfillment and his joy. He doesn't let those discouraging voices prevent him from yelling out even the more to Jesus. Just like the woman who was suffering, from the hemorrhage. Bartimaeus did not give up. He did not let those discouraging words stop him at all. And he kept calling out to Jesus. Isn't the story of Bartimaeus like ours? That sometimes when we find ourselves in a difficult situation, in a predicament, and life is getting tougher and tougher and tougher, but all of a sudden we find that solution. We encounter Jesus, the man who loves us unconditionally, who is going to make our story change permanently, change for the best. And then when we start making that effort to get close to him, to know Jesus in a more intimate way, we start having people left and right who try to pull us down, who try to discourage us, who tell us, oh, prayers don't work, oh, this is a scam, don't do that, Jesus is not going to help you, this and that. Please, the example of Bartimaeus is what we should emulate. Bartimaeus was resilient and was not going to let any of these voices stop him from doing what he knew was going to be the best for him. But at the same time, there were a group of people who were supportive and encouraging towards Bartimaeus. When they heard that Jesus finally asked Bartimaeus to be brought to him, they asked him, stand up, he's calling out to you. And those are the people, my friends, that we should keep closer to us. Those people who encourage us on our faith journey. Those people who love us, who want us to recognize God's boundless mercy, God's unconditional love, God's everlasting goodness and embrace that reaches out to us constantly. Those are the people that we want to bring closer to our lives. Those people who always encourage us to follow the right path. And those are the people Bartimaeus listened to. And so should you and I. Now, when Bartimaeus finally encounters Jesus, Jesus asks him a question, and that question is very profound. It is a question that I want us to specifically look at today. Jesus asked Bartimaeus, quid tibi vis faciam? What can I do for you? Now, we'll be asking ourselves, isn't Jesus omniscient? Of course, he is. He is omniscient. He is all-knowing. He knows exactly what Bartimaeus wants. Of course, it was even evident that all Bartimaeus needed was to see again, right? But no, Jesus asked that question because it goes beyond just the physical blindness that Bartimaeus was going through. Sometimes, you and I, we might not necessarily be physically blind like Bartimaeus, but our blindness can also be spiritual. Our blindness can be spiritual. We can be blind from following the particular path that the Lord has prepared for us. And so Jesus asked Bartimaeus, what is it that you want from me? And Bartimaeus, recognizing at that moment that it is not just the physical healing that he was seeking for, but also a spiritual and eternal one. He says, Lord, that I may see again. That I may see again. And that is the same answer that we should be giving Jesus each time he asks us, what should I do for you? What do you want from me? That we should ask Jesus to make us see again, to see the path that we may have strayed away from, so that he can open our eyes to the path that leads to him and him alone. And of course, when Jesus heals Bartimaeus and asks him to go away, what does he do? Bartimaeus followed Jesus without delay. Bartimaeus was no longer blind to the physical world, but he was also able to see the spiritual and saw clearly and distinctly the path that the Lord wanted for him, which was the path that follows Christ, a path that leads to salvation. This, my dear friends, is the same path that Jesus wants us to follow. Jesus wants us to be readily available to say, Lord, make us see again, so that we can follow you, who are the way, the truth, and the life, so that we can become one with you and be happy forever when we finally get to the beatific vision. Have a great day, my dear friends, and God bless you. Until next time.